Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in WagerBucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
All right, guys, welcome in. Time for the Monday edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. It is a loaded card tonight in the NBA. We got 4 games we're going to break down for you here. Those 4 games will include teams like the Bulls. We're going to talk about Bulls Memphis. We're going to talk about Sixers and Dallas. We got the Kings in New Orleans. We've also got Denver taking on the Golden State Warriors, and we'll go ahead and break these games down, of course, with 3 of the absolute finest from WagerTalk.com. That will include, of course, Ski Profit at the top, back in the saddle again. We got Stevie in the middle, Merrill, 2 R's and 1 L in a familiar situation, of course, in the cleanup spot. We've got Rob Vino ready to go on this $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. And Ski, let me come to you first, my man. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed a couple days off there last week. We missed you, but what do you got going on at WagerTalk here for $9 Monday?
I've only made 2 plays so far in MLB. I've yet to make a play in NBA, but they're coming, so there'll be a couple up there probably at the end of the show.
All right, good stuff there. And Merrill in the middle, my man, talk to me here. It is a loaded card between the association, of course, and MLB. What do you got going on at $9 Monday?
Yes, 7-1 start to the baseball season, almost an 8-1 start, as last night missed out by a single run, but 7-2 over on the baseball season. And $9 Monday was not good enough. I wanted it to be $4.50 Monday, so I made a 2-for-1 special for $9. Which you get my baseball and basketball plays both for $9. And as Rob Vino will tell you, that works out to $4.50 each at WagerTalk.com.
All right, look at that. He's doing math and everything. So appreciate that, Stevie. And Vino, talk to me, my man. $9 Monday. I know you've been hard at work since about 6 a.m. this morning. So talk to me. What do you got going on tonight?
Yeah, I think the first NBA play I put up there, Joe, was about 12:30 a.m. Put up a 4% best bet for a $9 Monday. Came back with another one this afternoon. So there's a pair of 4% best bet plays up and available right now on $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. The last week in the NBA was real good to me. 60% winners, plus 26, a little over 26 units of profit ROI. Major League Baseball has been good. When I checked this morning, sitting at number 4 on the WagerTalk leaderboard, up about 12% profit so far this year. So good in both. Look to keep it going this week.
All right, let's do that then for sure, guys. And why don't we start with our contrarian game of the day and take a look at what we've got going on. A couple of angles we could have went with here today, but we were very interested, of course, in this game here, and that being the Chicago Bulls coming off of
we have to jump off the Memphis train. In Chicago, I know that their team's a little bit different now, but the road dog role, although it's a short road dog, has been one that's been successful for them. They've been covering numbers lately, 5 of the last 7. They've been better defensively, and Memphis is supposed to be a defensive team, and they rebound the ball better. So I agree. I would look towards Chicago here.
All right, looking towards Chicago. How about you, Merrill? It was a rough last game for both of these guys not too long ago. So there's only so much, I don't know. What else can Zach Livingston do besides drop 30 in a game? That's all he can do. He's got to get some help here. You think he gets it in Chicago tonight?
I like Chicago in this game. And if you look at the market, it opened 3 down to 2.5. Yet, as you said, Joe, a lot of love still for Memphis. So I think there is some sharp money on Chicago. I agree with that sharp money. Both teams off back-to-back losses. But as Ted Cervansky said on the show a couple times the last few weeks, there will be a point here in the near future to fade Memphis. He said that on his radar. And the fact that they're 0-2 straight up ATS their last 2 gives me even more confidence here that maybe that slide is starting to happen. Like Ski said, they've had a lot of tough games, a lot of games crammed together. And I think that's the sell sign with the Memphis Grizzlies. So I have no problem being contrarian with the Chicago Bulls tonight.
All right, going Chicago, the Bulls, it is. All right, talk to me here, Ravino. You're up, my man. Contrarian game, Bulls, 2.5 at this point. I don't know. Do you like Memphis at home? I mean, you were a guy that was a big supporter after the All-Star break for Memphis. Do you think it's time to start looking the other way now?
Well, I'm not so sure, Joe. I mean, in this case, they lose at home last night, and they get an immediate bounce back opportunity. I never really worry about fatigue with Memphis in back-to-backs just because they're so young. They generally are able to withstand back-to-back games. The Bulls have gotten bigger, which is probably a reason why they played better, right? When you go out and make the acquisitions that they did, when you get Vucevic from Orlando, and then you come back and get Daniel Tice from Boston, it pushed Larry Markkinen to the bench. So they kind of go small on the front line to start as far as the forwards are concerned, and then they get a little bigger when Tice and Markkinen come into the game. But I generally, just a theory of mine, again, when a team loses at home that was favored and they come back the next night and they're favored again, I like when they have the opportunity to get the bad taste right out of their mouth. I think Memphis can do that here. The matchups are pretty good on both sides. I just think the Memphis bench is deeper. The game Ski was referring to was against the Knicks. The Knicks came from behind and won that thing in overtime. Memphis had built a tremendous lead. The Bulls' last couple haven't been good on the defensive end. They've played good offensive teams. I think 49 and 50% allowed last 2 games against good offensive teams, which Memphis qualifies. I attribute last night, Joe, a little bit more to Indiana taking Memphis by surprise. You know, yesterday, real quick, that total got steamed so rapidly and so much in that Indiana-Memphis game. I think it was like 226.5 all the way to 234.5 by game time. And that's for the change in Indiana's style. I just don't know that Memphis was equipped for the amount of running. I think they put up 115 shots last night. The two teams combined for over 200 field goal attempts. Very fast-paced game. I think this team suits them better. So I'll ride with Memphis here at the short price.
The John Morant's got to figure out how to play some defense here, guys, for a full year, because if he's only going to worry about offense, they got a name for that in the NBA. It's called, the James Harden. By the way, Chicago unbelievably has owned Memphis the last 3 years, 6-0 against them, guys, both against the number and straight up. So it certainly has been Chicago. It's gone Chicago's way over the last couple of years. We'll see if they can keep it rolling here tonight. 2.5 for the Bulls, our contrarian game of the day. We're going to move on to one of our featured matchups here tonight, and that'll be the Sixers on the road taking on the Dallas Mavericks, who inexplicably lost to the San Antonio Spurs. And, of course, DeRozan coming through once again for the Spurs last night. Mavericks left shaking their head, wondering where it all went wrong. But they are a dog here, guys. 2.5 points is what it opened up at. And I think it's pretty much right around that still. There are a few threes out there, too, as Philadelphia continues to get some money here. 218 for a total, so nobody thinks there's going to be a lot of points after opening up at 224.5, down to 218. So, Merrill, let me start with you here, my man. Sixers on the road as a favorite always scares me. What about you?
Yeah, first of all, inexplicably, I can barely say it, Joe. That was a great word. I definitely cannot spell it, but they definitely have a home-road dichotomy. I always think of Philly. And the other thing that jumps out to me about this, I've mentioned it a few times, it's an East versus West kind of contenders. You know, Philly's tied for the Eastern lead with the Nets right now heading into Monday. Dallas is obviously a contender in the West, and I just still think the West is a much better conference. So it is enticing to me to get the Western team as a home dog. And as you said, Philly's been much weaker on the road. Now, last year they had a huge home road dichotomy. Not quite as bad this year, 16-12 on the road, but that's compared to 20-5 at home. So there's still a pretty substantial drop-off. And this line just looks pricey to me. I almost feel like the Mavericks are a bit of a contrarian underdog as well in this game.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, talk to me here, Vino. It's an interesting spot. First of all, the total, you want to talk about getting steamed down. It got crushed early on from the very get-go here. So how much do you trust this Sixers team on the road being a favorite in Dallas?
Well, the total going straight down, obviously, is the anticipation that Porzingis doesn't play back-to-backs. We'll see. He hasn't been ruled out yet. But generally speaking, Kristaps does not play back-to-backs, which kind of leaves Luka on his own with Josh Richardson and Tim Hardaway Jr. And just from players on the court, Joe, this is a horrendous matchup for Dallas. I mean, the first time around, they get beat by 14, 111-97. That sounds better than the ass beating it really was. I mean, they were down 18 heading into the fourth, and Philly could have poured it on if they wanted. There's nobody that can handle Joel Embiid on this team. Willie Cauley-Stein potentially comes back tonight. He could have come back last night, but I think the conditioning from health and safety protocols kept him on the bench. But he's no match for Embiid down low. Philly started this road trip with that embarrassing loss to New Orleans where they just couldn't play offense whatsoever. It's just one of those nights. They bounced back. They beat a disabled Oklahoma City team that's just going through a huge youth movement. And now they get this game against Dallas where it's a potential playoff contender. I just don't think Dallas matches up. You can put Ben Simmons on Luka and make life rougher than it has to be for Luka. In that first game, Luka only scored 19 points. They played without Porzingis in that one, so you may see the same situation here again tonight. So that's two huge advantages for Philadelphia, Embiid and Simmons in this game. Where Dallas, and they don't shoot well enough from the outside, in my estimation, to make it hard on Philly. Philly rested Tobias Harris and Danny Green on Saturday because they were playing Oklahoma City. Tonight they both come back, so the starting unit will be fully intact. I just don't, fundamentally, Joe, I don't think Dallas can compete here within the point spread. So I would look towards Philadelphia. I think Philly looks to get on the winning side of the ledger on this road trip, and especially against a playoff contending team like Dallas.
There were some rumors that maybe Redick finally ready to rock and roll there for Dallas tonight. We'll see if that is a go, but he's questionable. Like you said, so is Porzingis, has not been ruled out just yet. So, Ski, what do you think, man? You've had your finger on the pulse of the Sixers team this season, so all healthy, still on the road. Hell, they were our contrarian. We went against them on Friday with the Pelicans on the road. So talk to us here. What do you think of this game?
Well, Tobias is still game time decision unless he's been ruled in yet. And the Dallas side, I understand you need somebody down there to kind of stop Embiid, but I just like the way Dallas is playing lately. It's a Dallas team that's playing incredibly good defense. They've been winning. They've been covering numbers. And Philly, as good as they've been, they're better than they were last year on the road. They're still not great when they play better teams. I have them on the road versus 55% when teams are better. 3-6 so far this year, straight up and against the spread. If you go back a couple years, it's 4-20 straight up. So I don't usually want to back them on the road here versus the better team. So I lean towards Dallas. I do like where the money or where the total has gone though. Dallas, they're playing at the slowest pace in the league over the last 5. I just mentioned how great their defense has been. Philly, we know their identity is on the defensive end. So I think it's a slower paced game. And I trust both teams to keep it under the total.
I'll say this, first half total hovering around that 111.5, 112. Dallas certainly has not been an offensive juggernaut on the second of back-to-back, so might be some opportunities in the total with that as well, guys. We'll take a look, of course, at our next featured game up here as we move along to Sacramento taking on New Orleans. And New Orleans, bit of a scare last night against the Cavaliers. Cavaliers came out and kind of boat raced them there in the first half, and then New Orleans, too much Zion, just too much everything there last night. Pelicans win in the end. Now they got to take on the Kings at home. It opened up as a 4-point New Orleans spread there with the total at 236, and I am seeing right now 2s and some 237s, in fact, in a number of different places. So, Vino, let me come to you here. New Orleans, hard fought last night. I mean, there was nothing easy about that Cleveland game in Cleveland there, but they pulled out the victory. Now they're home taking on Sacramento. Did we just look at the over here and call it a night?
It's hard to trust either side. Where the point spread is concerned, Joe, it's difficult to trust Sacramento. They're just not going to play any defense. And again, you saw last night. I mean, not only did New Orleans struggle with Cleveland, but they struggled against Cleveland without Sexton and Garland. I mean, you can't do that. It took everything they had to come from behind in the fourth quarter. And believe me, as somebody who thought I got a good price laying 7 points before actually Colin Sexton was ruled out, that was a struggle just to get my money back. So for me, New Orleans, they played one good defensive game on Friday night against Philadelphia, and then they come right back and get lit up by a half of a Cavaliers squad last night in the first half. Now, give them credit. The fourth quarter, they played pretty good D, but I don't trust them either. So for me, I would say yes, it has to be some form of over, if anything, whether you want to go first half, whether you want to go full game. I wouldn't talk anybody off of either. The matchups are what they are as far as offensive basketball is concerned. So you can see Sacramento putting in their share of points. To a degree, New Orleans is still a little bit battered roster-wise. You still have Lonzo out. You got a couple of key people out there. Alexander Walker, who fills some really good minutes for them, still out. And maybe that's advantage Sacramento, Joe, but I'm just making stuff up here when I start thinking of that. So I would say probably over. First half or game, whichever you consider better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the money has certainly come in towards Sacramento. This opened up as 4, and I'm seeing 2.5s and 2s now there, Ski. So, but man, it's hard to get behind Sacramento, isn't it, on the road?
Yeah, I really don't want to look Sacramento's way. You are going to miss Lonzo. You are going to miss Alexander Walker. But New Orleans has been playing a lot better than Sacramento lately. Sacramento only covered one of their last 5. I know they've been a favorite a lot lately, but I talk about this team. They go in waves when they play defense, when they don't. They're back not playing defense again. So I think Zion has a night. He's been unstoppable anyway. Sacramento's defense, we know they can give up 30 points to whoever any given night. Ingram, I think he'll have success as well. And just continuing to fade teams that have lost 5 or more games in a row. You're still hitting at 60.3% on the season if you continue to fade those teams. So fade Sacramento, play on New Orleans. And I agree with Rob. I think he said he likes the over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's the way to go. Yeah, I think it's hard sweating out an under in this one here. Talk to me there, Merrill, in the middle. Do you like what you're seeing from New Orleans in this spot at home after what happened last night in Cleveland?
Well, as Ski said, it's hard to trust Sacramento. They've been an incredibly consistently inconsistent team this season. They either win 5 or 6 straight or they lose 5 or 6 straight. We've seen it several times, and now they're in another one of those downturn, it appears. One glimmer of hope maybe is that they actually played Utah a lot tougher than the 16-point loss indicated. And I know because I had Sacramento plus the 11.5 plus 12 for my clients on Saturday, and they're down by like 3, I think, with 4 minutes to go in the game, and somehow found a way to lose by 16 and not cover as a double-digit dog. Hard to know what to make of that. They're just 1-5 ATS, 0-6 straight up now the last 6. So do you really want to take just 2 points with them? I actually would lean that way in this game because I'm not ready to lay points with New Orleans. I just would have liked to gotten a bigger number with the Kings in this matchup. Rob mentioned find a way to play the over. I don't disagree. The problem is, as we've talked about, Joe, when it's 237 like this, the biggest total on the board, everything has to go right. And these are 2 below-average free throw shooting teams. They're 2 below-average three-point shooting teams. Now, they both have 2 of the worst three-point defenses in the league, so maybe that'll offset. But I think maybe a better way is, like Ski said, Zion should be unstoppable tonight, especially against a terrible Kings defense. So let's maybe look at some Zion props over the total. I was trying to pull them up here. I don't have them in front of me, but I would expect Zion to have a big game. 29.5. I mean, all those make a lot of sense. Yeah, so Zion over would be probably the safest way to find an over to play.
Yeah, I mean, you had, and it's interesting, last night with the Pelicans, you had 130 points in the first half, Rob. And then in the second half total was 109. They didn't get there. So, and they barely made it over the total of 224, I think 223, 224 to begin with. So it was a tale of 2 halves there, but very hard to sweat out and under here with Sacramento and New Orleans, which brings me to our overtime matchup here. But before we get to that, I do also want to let you guys know that our good friends from the Gold Sheet, they are in agreement wholeheartedly that it is the New Orleans Pelicans. That is the way to look here tonight. Laying the 2, and don't forget, of course, our friends at the Gold Sheet You can always catch this full write-up by visiting us on Twitter at WagerTalk. That's right, WagerTalk has all the gold sheet plays of the day that you see on the show. So make sure you head over there, follow us at WagerTalk, and catch all of those gold sheet write-ups there. All right, our overtime matchup is going to, interesting enough, we're going to the game where it was steamed under time, not overtime, and that being the Denver Nuggets taking on the Golden State Warriors. Opened up 229.5, even 230 in some places, but that has just kept coming down and down. I'm seeing 225.5 even in some places now as that number continues to come down. No Wiseman, Kelly Oubre, who the hell knows? The injury bug just unbelievable with this team, Ski, the Warriors. But I got to let you know, we got an angle of the day on this game. So we're going to go ahead and let you know, Ski, and then you're going to tell us if you have any SDQL to throw back at it, and then hopefully we'll remember what the hell game we're talking about. We're looking to bet on home underdogs of 3.5 to 9.5, and I know Merrill loves this already. Home underdogs 3.5 to 9.5 when the home team is revenging a same-season loss, and the road team is also coming off a double-digit home loss as a favorite. This trend, 44, 23, and 2 against the number, 68% over the last 20 seasons. According to our good friend John Ryan at sportsmemo.com, you guys bet the Warriors plus the points. Oh, and sprinkle a little bit on the money line. So we'll look at this from a couple of different ways. First, the total, Ski, as Merrill puts in the numbers of the 3.5 to 9.5. I know he loves that. But talk to me from a totals perspective here. You agree with the market coming down? Do you think there's any value in going over in this matchup right now?
Oh.
Yep.
Here.
Oh, yeah, I got
there
you.
We go. There we go.
Yep.
My bad. I went a little bit, I kept going back and forth with this game, just thinking initially, I like an under. If Jamal Murray's possibly not going to play, I think the offense takes a little bit of a hit. And if you're going to run the offense through Jokic, I think that they do play a little bit slower because that's how he plays in general. And for Golden State, I would usually like an under. The thing that bothers me or makes me take a step back, I mean, you're not going to have Wiseman. You're not going to have Pascal. If Looney or Draymond goes to the bench, who's protecting the paint tonight?
Yep.
And I can see Jokic having a field day. I can see Gordon having a field day. Porter Jr. has been great. So it makes it tough for me. Gun to my head, if I have to play the total right now, I would probably go under still. It's just a little bit tough for me. And I disagree with the angle. Sorry to say, John Ryan, but Golden State, Steph Curry's been putting up 30-something points a game, and it still hasn't been enough to win. So Denver's been playing good basketball. They fell off the last game. I think they bounced back.
Yeah, they didn't just fall off there, Merrill. Denver just got, what the hell, what? They're looking for any help in identifying the truck that ran them over there in the second half in the Celtics game. Good God. So bounce back here in this. Do you agree with the angle? And is there any value in taking the over in this one?
Yeah, I would normally look for a bounce back with, a quality, what I consider probably a Class A team in the Nuggets off a bad loss. But the problem is they're traveling without rest. So it's not like they've had any time to fix the problems. Maybe that was just a letdown. It's hard to imagine it was a letdown spot against an Eastern Conference team that could be a semi-contender, but it was off of 8 straight wins, 6-2 against the spread the previous 8. But that does concern me. And if there are some problems offensively, that gets you off the over as well. They only shot 36% last night. But otherwise, I would be looking at the over here. That'd be the only way I would play it. Wiseman being out, by the way, if you look at the numbers, he hasn't played a ton this year. Number 2 overall pick, of course. But the Warriors are about 10 points better offensively per 100 possessions with him off the court this year.
Wow.
So they're definitely not going to miss him offensively. But I am concerned about that result last night, Joe. The fact that the Nuggets only shot 36% now have to travel without rest or practice. Hard to know what to make of that.
Yeah, I mean, Rob, do you tend to believe that Malone takes this crew and says, "Oh, you see, you're not as good as you think you are"? Was it an eye-opening experience for him, or do we see some regression from this Denver team, and maybe the under is the way to look here?
Yeah, well, where that's concerned, Joe, I would say this. If you like under, you bet right now, because if Jamal Murray gets listed as out, it's going to get lower.
Lower.
So you want to get the best price now. If you like over, bet right now, because if Jamal Murray's in the game, that number's going up. So it doesn't matter which way you like. This whole total hinges on Jamal Murray's status. It's going to sit where it is until we know if he's going to play or not. So if you're going to play it one way or the other. I'll say this. I had that game on yesterday while I was doing some work in the office here, and it had nothing to do with Denver first team offense. Zero. They had a 14-point lead with 3 minutes left in the third, and Mike Malone went to his bench. And the bench came in and played like they had a 14-point lead and the game was in the bag. They actually played like that, a 40-point lead, because they just started coming down and throwing up shots. And before they knew it, Boston had closed to within, it was either 3 or 1 at the end of the third quarter. And Malone left the bench out there for another couple of minutes to start the fourth. They got behind by 5. By the time he brought Jokic and company back, they were losing and they couldn't get it back. The tide had gone too far and they were caught in it. They couldn't swim against it. So I don't think there's any problem with the Denver first team unit here. Michael Porter couldn't hit threes yesterday. If you want a problem, that was a problem. But he still had 22 points, I think, in that game. Jokic was great. They're going to be okay today. Malone waved the white flag and pulled Jokic with about 5 minutes left. He saw the writing on the wall. Not too worried about Denver bouncing back here. John Ryan's the angles are great, but they're so statistically based. They have no context to them. That game yesterday, that loss was a sheer embarrassment, not to the coach, to every player on the floor. And guys like Jokic and Gordon and company, they want to bounce back off of something like that. So I would use much more the context of this game and play Denver than I would historical numbers that might back something that has no context to it. That's just me. I think Denver plays well tonight. I would be on their side. And as I mentioned with the total, you just wait and see. You don't wait and see. You do whatever you like right now.
Whatever you like.
Because Murray's going to be the gauge.
Yeah, it's starting to get to that point where we used to say Golden State, there are always points available, right, Rob? Always points available. I don't know if there's any more points available to him as we start getting in these second half.
No Kelly Oubre?
No Oubre, no Wiseman. That's a lot more minutes for other guys you have never even heard of. So going to be interesting there. It is also a pretty interesting day over at WagerTalk.com right now because it is $9 Monday. Gives you guys the opportunity to grab the best bets on the board right now for just $9. That's right. You like the way that works? Don't need a angle of the day to tell you that. $9 Monday, guys. $9 best bets at WagerTalk.com. All right. Let us do it. Let us go. It is time for our buzzer beater best bets of the show. Of course, Ski running point, a familiar spot here. So we're going to let him rev it up here. 60 seconds on the clock. Ski, do whatever you would like with it. Just give us a best bet somewhere in there, my man. Go ahead. Where are you going tonight?
Yeah, I'll throw some punches today, but it's not going to be with the guys on the show.
Oh!
I got reminded a little bit of somebody I was extremely irritated with, and it's going to be John Morant.
Woo!
I'm just like, somebody, I forgot who mentioned it, but they were just talking about John Morant, and he can't shoot the ball. His 3-point percentage is down in the 20s. He can't make a free throw. All of these losses, like the last one versus the Knicks, he tweets, builds character, and then they go out and lose to the Pacers. Just shut up already. Work on your game and get better. So that's my rant for today. Best bet, I'm going to go to the Lakers, man. You're going to keep undervaluing them. You see that they're getting it together. They got some shooting. Their 3-point percentage the last 10 games is boosted to 7th. They're still playing the best defense in the league. They have Drummond. They're going to out-rebound New York tonight. I think Lakers plus 110 is a lot of value. Until they start to make them favorites again, I'll back the Lakers.
Going to the Lakers. All right, let's do it. I completely forgot that game was on tonight. That's right. Lakers at the Knicks. Very good. And by the way, it was me. Morant can't play any defense. He's a defensive liability. And that's a problem on the floor, especially if you can't shoot. Go ahead and Merrill, 60 seconds on the clock. Rip whoever you like. Mix in some props. Do it, man. Talk to us. Where are you going tonight?
Yeah, a lot of, well, first of all, I have a strong best bet at WagerTalk.com and the NBA, also baseball off to a 7-2 start. Keep in mind, college hoops start at 17-4, so I do get off to fast starts quite often in these sports. Early in the season, the lines are very soft. Baseball's been incredibly strong. 2-for-1 special, $9 Monday, and as Rob Vino clarified for me and affirmed, $4.50 per play with that math. Ski, I was going to maybe use the hell no Houston Rockets just to poke at you here as my best bet, but I just can't get behind them. Because as Rob Vino pointed out, when Phoenix wins, they cover. One of the few times they won and did not cover was against Houston a few games back. By only 3. They were a 14-point road favorite. Now they're only a 12-point home favorite. So I'm staying off the Rockets. I just can't even do it with Rob Vino's money on the show today. So I'm going to look at the Chicago Bulls, the team we talked about earlier. I think the Bulls have some value, and I do think this is maybe the sell signal with Memphis after that nice money run they had in which they covered 9 out of 10. They've now gone 0-2 straight up in ATS. As we throw it over to Rob Vino, the rainbow basketball is back. Tony Finn returned it. I wiped it right to you, Rob.
He just knocked he just knocked himself out. Good God Almighty! Here we go. He just knocked himself out. His rainbow basketball just knocked him out. I love it. All right, Rob, you are up, my friend. 60 seconds. Where are you going on the board tonight?
Well, first off, I had to quickly check my pockets when Steve Merrill said Rob Vino's money. I want to make sure he hadn't fleeced me. Second of all, I feel like the guy running with the Olympic torch and Ski just pulled up behind me and said, give me the effing torch. I'm going to take over because last year I said it once, twice, and even beginning of this year, I was sick and tired of reading John Morant quotes. We'll learn and get better. We'll learn and get better. We'll learn and get better. And he's still saying the same stuff in a different version. So, I mean, learn and get better already. Give us a break here. We don't need to keep hearing it much like Stan Van Gundy bitching about defense. Stop and just get better. With the last 21 seconds, I'll tell you there's something I've never done, guys, and I tried to give it to clients today, but I'm just not technically qualified enough to be able to do it. The Denver team total tonight, 115.5 over the number. What happened yesterday, a fluke. What'll happen tonight against this defense, they're going to score more than 115.5. Give it to me as the best bet for the show.
Oh, that's fantastic. So now I got to look at the first half number altogether. Hold on. Let me see what we got. It's 1.5 for Denver. And, it's the total is 150. Give me over and ball. I'm taking Denver in the first half, too, Rob. You convinced me they're going to come out swinging tonight. Love that. All right, guys, let's check out one more time the recap of the buzzer beater best bets, including Ski back in the, well, this is a shock. Give me the Lakers, plus 110 in their matchup against the New York Knicks. You got Merrill going Bulls tonight. Loves it, 2.5. That also happens to be our contrarian game of the day, back in the Bulls, plus 2.5. Rob Vino says Nuggets team total over 115.5. That also happens to be the total on the first half in that matchup tonight. And our friends at the Gold Sheet, they like the Pelicans to get the job done here at home against Sacramento. And don't forget, of course, those write-ups in full, guys, by following us on Twitter at WagerTalk. And make sure you head over there for $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com, that is. Right now, Ski Profit, Steve Merrill, Rob Vino, best bets today. $9, guys. You get over there. Get on board. It's a hell of an opportunity for you guys to be able to start the week off profitable here today on $9 Monday. So on behalf of Ski Profit, Steve Merrill, and Rob Vino, guys, appreciate the time. Of course, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner, and then make plans to join us again tomorrow, same time, as we dive into another card in the association. So best of luck with your plays, guys. Thanks for the time. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Tuesdays is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers, best bet, or daily package for only $2.